I'm still setting up. Right, there we go. Let's have a look at the chat. Get my chat over here, get my camera lined up. And I think we're pretty good. Good evening, Gramps. So, can you hear that hiss in the background? That's a tape hiss from one of my plugins. This is it here. Time Machine. Great plugin by Safari, but we don't need the noise. It's basically like a compression, coloration type plugin, and it just has buttons that does different eras. But I've got it on the drums. Have a listen here. Put it in bypass. Off. On. Yeah, so it does something pretty cool, so I'll put that on. You get different eras, so 70s, 60s, 50s. Quite like 70s actually. So, have you not? Right, okay, so hi Sean, hi Gramps. I'm not sure if the notifications have been going out. I haven't been getting them at least. Right, I don't know, Sean. I mean, I haven't done anything different my end, but I don't know. Maybe just check that you've got your notifications, the notification bell clicked on, or re-click it on so you get it. But I haven't done anything as far as the notifications is concerned. If I haven't done anything at all to the channel much. Actually, I did optimize it a bit, but I didn't do anything with regards to like subscribers or anything like that. So I'm assuming it's okay my end. But if you could just have a check your end, that would be good. All right, so we're here today, and we're going to be talking about live looping. So live looping has been a little bit of a craze that happened. There was a bit of a live looping weekend sprint between me and Thomas, trying to work out a solution for it. So, and I think we'll probably come up with totally different things from each other. Very, very interesting. I'm trying to think where to start. So I'll start, for me, at the beginning, just give you the background on it, because no doubt it'll be alive and we'll be talking about looping at some point. So, just so I can get into a little bit of depth about mine, I might as well just do it here. And then we've got a live video, and then, you know, sort of like where I'm coming from, okay? So, there are lots of ways to do live looping. And the way that I'm doing it, okay, is I've decided that In fact, I'll go through a few different methods. If you're using Ableton Live, right, you do have, like these looper plugins which you can use, and basically you can just shove one on a track, and then you just record into it, which is fine. But the only problem is you've just got really the signal chain of whatever you're using going into that plugin, and then you're stacking up whatever. So that's great if you've just got a guitar and you want to do like a clean tone and a distortion tone, brilliant. But if you want to do something elaborate, it gets a little bit more trickier, and then you've got to stack all of these loopers on top of each other and then control them, which is also fine, but then it's like, how do you control them on your feet and all that kind of stuff? So that was pretty difficult. And then there's various like Max for Live looping devices that make various aspects of this easier. So there's a guy called Ableton Drummer who does some excellent sort of looping type Max for Live stuff. So I got his looper, and again, that didn't really solve many of my problems. But what I noticed is I went through and kind of looked at a lot of tutorials of other people doing the live looping thing. And I went for the tutorials because I knew what it was I was wanting to do. So I thought I'll just have a look at, other people doing the live looping using the looper in Ableton, and also I was interested to see if there's any third-party sort of better solutions, and there wasn't. But then what I noticed is, for me, if I want that kind of, and I hate the word quality as well, there's two things. I'm going back to myself, right? YouTube and quality. But one of the things I was wanting for the streams when I'm doing stuff is to have really cool like produced sound coming out, and sort of like with the live looping plugins, it's very difficult to kind of sort of get it there, and to get it mixed, that bit's a little bit not quite there, although you can give an energetic performance and you can certainly have vibe. It just doesn't do the kind of rest of it, So the looping thing for me was then out. And actually, the people who basically do use Ableton Live, right, and technically looping and just producing music from zero to something, tend not to use the looping plugin, basically. So there's a number of artists who do that, and basically they just have their instruments set up into tracks as you do, and they're using their session view. So that kind of neatly took me back to, okay, whatever's going to happen is going to be in the session view. But then it's still like, how do you trigger things? How do you get things recorded in? And obviously there's a number of options. Got push, which is great. So you can arm tracks and you can record tracks on here. Which I'll show you a little bit. And that works great. The only problem is when you're playing guitar, you got to then drop yourself in on there, which isn't too bad if it's here. If it's over there, it's a little bit awkward. I'm looking at the computer all the time. But great for writing stuff very, very quickly. You can just quickly arm a track and drop into a track, which is great. But how do you do it on your feet? Well, Thomas actually stumbled on something, and I'm surprised I didn't twig on this, because anybody who's got one of these, which is the Live Logic. So I hadn't used mine for a bit, so I got it out. By default, it's set up to loop in Ableton. It's just quirky. It's just like kind of hardwired to Ableton in a way. That's how I would describe it. For example, what it'll do is it'll only work the first 6 tracks. So you've got a limitation, which actually I quite like limitations. And you can loop on that, and you can just drop in and you can record. And that seems to, so far, fingers crossed, because I've only just set this up sort of yesterday and had one very brief go of as I ran out the door, but it actually seemed to work really, really good, which I was very pleased at. but it means I'll show you in a bit like what it means on the set. So it's been an interesting journey looking at all the sort of live looping stuff. But for me, I ended up coming back to my unique guitar instrument, you know, and that is, you know, that idea of using your, you know, thinking of your DAW as an instrument, which we should be doing really, you know, because when we're making music, you know, we want to be as insightful as we can, you know. And although I had mine set up for live looping, there's one problem is when you're on the chat and using your MC8 to control, which is the other foot switch I have, to control Ableton. If Ableton goes in the background, then you've got no control over it on your feet, and you have to kind of click back. So it kind of doesn't, it's a bit clunky like that. So you can't totally rely on it. The Logic seems to work like regardless for doing the looping, so that seems to be a lot more solid. But I'll show you what I've got in a bit. Other than that, I really enjoyed actually yesterday's guitar session. That was really good. So I'm really enjoying talking about guitars at the minute. And it's you know, I'm kind of fully back into it actually, I must admit. I mean, one thing I'm absolutely doubling down on is you know, how I manage my technique. You know, just economy of motion is absolutely everything. Because I kind of came to the conclusion sort of probably last month at some point that I thought, hold on a minute, because I needed to get back into guitar playing and get back to sort of shredding fitness, I needed to be able to put the hours in, you know. And you know, what that meant was 2 seconds, I just need to make sure. Right, wait up. Just looking for headphones there. So one of the things I realised, and it's sort of been something I've been you know, noticing, is like players later on just getting injured, right? And just the hands not working as much. And I think for me, I'm glad I've come off those 11 gauge strings, you know, because I think at the end of the day I would have just like damaged my hands permanently, you know. By playing that and using like really super like 2mm Dunlop picks, because it was just, I could tell my thumb was starting to hurt with that. So just having something with a bit of flex has like really kind of helped my hand. But actually just like every day I play on I shred on an acoustic guitar, which is absolutely brilliant for building up strength. And my acoustic guitar has like 10s on it. And I've got it set up with a fairly low action, but still it's a commitment to play it. So I just realised that actually, even though the technique's okay, it's still not as energy efficient as it could possibly be. So I've absolutely like zeroed in on that, and just sort of the last month or so I've been really working quite a lot just on sort of like the left hand technique really. And then, you know, making sure that turn this up. There we go. Excellent. Yeah, and just making sure that, you know, my fingers are just hitting the optimum part of the fret, you know, all the time. And I think sometimes we get carried away and we play hard, so it's just keeping that control and that flow at all times. But I think the other thing is I think when we're doing that, is we think we're losing energy out of our play, and it's not like that. It's just you're controlling energy in a different way. And I've heard a few players like talking about this. It's like, you know, the really pro players, they play really, really light, but the energy's there, the power's actually there. And as I always say, I'm a big sort of fan, and I'm always pushing the idea of pick planting and displacement, you know. And it's the same with your fingers, you know, your finger technique here. When I think about it, is your finger technique's the same as like planting with the plectrum. I mean, what you're trying to do is you're trying to hit the strings. You're trying to hit them as accurately as possible. You're trying to find the optimum part of the fret. But you're also trying to lower the action of your hand. And hit the string as lightly as possible. Because once you've got that, I mean, the tip there is for the displacement and the planting. So the planting is keeping your finger as close to the string as possible. And I think the planting for me, that's similar to the plectrum, is the velocity of how quick you're kind of hitting the note. So, you know, when you're practicing something like this, you're practicing slowly, but actually you're practicing really fast because you're moving your finger really quickly to the note. So you notice there's more. I mean, my hand's waking up, but you notice there's a little bit more of a hammer action to the finger. So there's like literally no effort going into that. It's just very light. So that's just my top tip and something that I've been working on that's been sort of really helped me just getting that economy in there. Lightening up on the pick. And then the other thing I notice is like sometimes you can get carried away and play too fast, like stuff like that. It's like sometimes I'll start a lick and then I'll go into a 3-1-3 and I realise I just haven't got the speed to like kind of carry it off. So it's just keeping things like even, isn't it? And consistent, you know. So that's sort of what I've been looking at, and you know, taking it easy on the hands, but being able to transfer the power. That's the main thing. So I don't know how other people feel about that, or because I know like some people probably like, like getting stuck into the guitar. So Gramps is saying Pat Marino used 15/16s for that dark organ sound. I got 13s, and it's a short scale instrument. That's heavy, isn't it? That's really heavy. That's really heavy, isn't it, Gramps? Those strings. I mean, like 16 gauge, 15s, 16s. I mean, they're like really thick, aren't they? You know. Yeah, so just some of my coffee thoughts there. So let's have a look at. I'll give you a run through what my looping looks like. So this is one idea. I think what you'll find is Thomas has an entirely different idea. So how he's doing his, and I might just kind of, because there's another upgrade I can do to this. Sorry, banging my head off there. That I might do to this as well when I think about it. But anyway, I'm waffling. All right, here we are, and the secret garden. I think I need to line this camera up a bit. No, it doesn't go that way. Just gotta take that little bit of edge out. One of my pet hates is wheelie chairs and leads on the floor. I don't know if anybody else has this, but I just I can't. When I bump into a lead, it just I find it dead annoying. Just adjusting the lighting a bit. Alright, it was just 2. I think it was too late before. Here we are. So this is what I came up with. So basically the way this goes is we've got, really I should only have 6 channels, but these are, and I'll just colour them, green for go. Maybe that green. Oh god, that's too bright, that. Maybe that green. These are the in green. These are the channels that are controlled by the looper. Which I have down here. Right, so at the minute I'm on shred, and each one of my 6 foot pedals corresponds to what's going on here. So now I'm a little bit vague on how many clicks is for what, but I think to select it's like 2 quick ones. So that's the kind of recorded, quickly stopped it, but selected the track. I'll tell you what, I'll just get rid of this. So we're selected there, and then the other thing I've got is I've got my drums, which I'm using EXO. So just to stay in time, I think the best thing I could come up with really was EXO for a number of reasons, right? Because we've got a lot of versatility there in terms of I don't have to find loops and stack them up here. Because then you'd have to start kind of dropping in on here. I might want to structure like a song, so I just want my template to be completely blank and then not having to pull pre-programmed loops out. So the beauty of EXO is, you know, you've got a huge, it accesses all your one shots. EXO is also a standalone program, so it's very easy to just kind of open it up and not even open your door and just start making little drum loops. So I'll just make little loops. And then just use them on a live, you know. So, you know, there's one. Let's have a look. And literally, you know, you've got. Let's have a look. What's this one? So I moved my sound library, so like some of these are like. I'm not sure how accurately it's. So if I fancy that, basically this drum machine now, I've picked like Hutch Dark Garage when I was on my Dark Garage phase, and that's now sort of in sync with my project. So the drum thing's really important, so I can just really kind of just get about and find an interesting beat just to jam along, really. The other thing with this is we've got control over all the levels really easy. So I can just kind of mix on the fly here. And then any other control I've got here, but that's probably getting into too much detail. I'll come back to that. So back to the looping. On 3. Right. So I'll pop that in. Okay, so far so good. Now, who's following along with this? So it's quite like easy just to get a loop down just off the foot switch like that. So for a 6-track looper, it's pretty good. And the way that I've organized it is each track actually has its plug-in chain on there. Now when it works, alright, in fact this should be changed like this. So in my research, I did hear somebody say that Ed Sheeran just has all of his loopers set to punch him out after 4 bars. So I'll just show you something that's quite interesting. You probably notice that when I did the ambient guitar, it punched me out. So I got it to record, and then it switched the recording off automatically after 4 bars. So there's a Max for Live plugin from the Ableton Live drummer. There's a guy who makes it. You can get it off Gumroad. And basically it's a fixed clip length track, and you can set this to however many bars you want, and then when you hit record it'll punch you out, so you don't have to think about that. It'll just take you out after 4 bars, which is really convenient, because you can just move to the next thing. You don't have to worry about kind of punching yourself out, which I think's really good. So that kind of solves one problem. I think the next problem to solve is how do you do sections of a song. So I think the solution from that is, this is where you have to use Ableton Push, or you could do this with a Novation Mini. So fundamentally, like you can see here, I'm in session view, and I can trigger basically lines. Let's go back here. So what I can do is, you can see I'm pushing play on there. That'll trigger, when it has clips on it, that line of stuff there. So that's one way of doing it. So we're on the next line, and I'm assuming, in theory, this will drop me in. Yeah. No, what key we're in? There you see, it's just nicely punching me out. I won't jam over that now. We're going in the wrong key there. So I won't go between the two things. Saz dropped me in. Yeah. Sorry, I'm still getting over my cold. All right, are we following along? Everybody's going quiet. Am I geeking out too much? So that's basically how this bit works. Unfortunately. Getting to the next layer is interesting. So I can't do it on Ableton. Let's just try that again. All right. All right, Richard, how you doing? Right. So the problem is, how do you get to the next layer? Thanks, Rich Quick. So, Rich Quick does really cool electronic music on his Twitch. I suggest following him because when he's jamming away, I think he knows that I do this. Like, I tune in and I jam along with him. He doesn't know that. So while he's like knocking his electronic beats out, I'm like shredding over the top. It's really good. In fact, we should just do something, Richard, shouldn't we? We should just, work it out, and then because it's just great, I can just sit there and just go mental on a guitar over your beats. Yeah, I mean, I'll try not to, destroy the vibe. But I think it would be good, wouldn't it? Yeah. So I don't know, Richard, you haven't seen this. This is the new scene at the minute. I've got. This is the secret garden. So I got behind me. I got like a green wall fitted. It's plastic. It's not real, and some lights to go with that. And then you got that, and then I've got like a little Chinese money cat. I can't point there. And that was it next to the plug socket. Like, it annoys me, that plug socket. And it annoys me the plug sockets in here in general, because the upper height, you can see that there's a phone charger on the wall, on the green bit there. And that's because it used to be... there used to be a kitchen in here, believe it or not. But actually, to be fair, I could say that, like, it's I've got the plug socket that high up because it's for my hairdryer. But yeah. So just going over my loop, kind of, I've been getting into like looping lately. So we're just looking at the looping template that I've been designing for the last 48 hours. So we've got, I'll tell you what, Rich Quick, I'll tell you what would be really good if you could give me a follow on YouTube as well. You can just find me like Tim Hutch on there and give me a subscribe. That would be really good. And there's also a Discord you could join as well if you wanted. So I've just been trying to get my act together in regards to... Oh, thank you. Right, alright, let's move on. Let's see what other kind of delights we've got in here. I should have pulled this out, because really I was thinking, right, I need to limit myself here, but I have got this extra cheeky track, which has nothing to do with looping. But I just really like it. I mean, it's like absolute chaos. But it sounds great in the mix, trust me. Thank you. All right, brilliant. Thanks, Rich. Discord link is... Alright, Discord link is in the description on this. It's in the description, it's in the about on the YouTube channel. You should find it there. going off the boil. I'm obsessed with that arpeggio. They put the notes up till I was there. Honestly, I've been like sort of like obsessed with badly trying to put chordal harmony into my playing. It sounds really impressive, doesn't it? Chordal harmony. But looking at ways to like stack things, just to get out of the whole straight major and minor stuff. Does it not? Oh, right, Rich, I'll have to go and fix it or something. This is typical of me. Nothing ever works. But, yeah, so just doing like little arpeggios, like, you know, if we're in G minor here. Doing stuff like that where you've got like a fourth, like a second, and then a fourth, and then we've got like another second, and then a fourth, and then a fourth there. Sorry, a minor third. So you've got that awkward stretch in there. So it's just so yeah, so like the thing is with sweep picking is it's like Zen archery. You've just got to you're using gravity. You're using you're using gravity and nature around you. And mindfulness, and you're allowing you're discovering the guitar. See, that's the discovery thing there. You're discovering how the guitar wants you to handle it. But I think for like really smooth kind of sweep picking, you see, especially when you've got multiple notes on a string. So for that, when I'm doing 2-1-2, one of the little things that I'll do is just come over here so I can see in the camera a bit better. What I'll do is I'll do rest strokes. So the pick, it's a bit like rest stroke in classical guitar, but with a pick, you know. The pick rests on the next string. And that's a really important thing because the pick has to go somewhere. It's no good, you know. I've taught people and they're like, and the pick's up here, and you know, so we need to make sure the hand's nice and secure. And we're just allowing the pick to fall like a leaf onto a ledge of a windowsill. And then if you're wanting like a harder attack, you can slightly push the pick. So it's not like a strumming, like a Reiki. It's just a little push. And that's how you kind of get that sound, you know. Yeah, so it makes loads of sense. I mean, so it's just, yeah, that's kind of how it works. And that's really, like, important, especially if you're doing, because, like, I'm a bit, oh, God, everybody be sick of me mentioning this, so I'm a big fan of, like, the 3-1-3 stuff. It's like all of my pentatonic scales are harmonized to 3 notes, then 1 note. Which is great, because it gives you different sort of like phrasing opportunities. Now if I go, right, we're in G. And then you can start combining it with like 2 notes per string, and just like the 3-1-3 thing with the sweep picking, with its economy picking, really just allows you to phrase things a little bit differently, but in a similar kind of way, I suppose. So yeah, it's kind of that fluidity is like the whole thing. The reason I kind of switched everything, like the whole economy picking thing, was so I wouldn't be thinking about, because actually the one thing of combining the economy picking and the 3-1-3 is you're not thinking about all the really awkward alternate picking angles you'd have to do. You know, if I was the one that one, it's just really difficult. The muscle memory on there, really hard. So I wanted to be able to play things that had really weird note groupings on strings, and just not have to think about it. So the kind of doing the economy picking with the, you know, sweep picking. You see, that's like, it looks like alternate picking, but actually I'm cutting through the strings in one direction. So like there, we've got 2 notes, 1 note and 3 notes. And it's great with the displacement. You can play it lightly or hard. You've got loads of controls. So like sweep picking, economy picking doesn't have to be a light technique. It can be very aggressive. And I'm totally relaxed all the time when playing that. Yeah. Back to looping. This is what happens when I'm not organised. Right, so not sure about how we get onto different layers, but I'm not going to worry about that just yet. So I wonder what happens if I trigger here. Right. Ambient. Alright. Yeah, so that's one thing I need to work on is like how to get this, how to drop on these different layers and the live logic to do that. Because it ain't gonna do it that I can see. So that's very interesting. Yeah, so obviously there's McRocklin and Hutch, Rich, and then there's my old band Freakstar, which has started, but that's become like a little bit of a thing at the minute because we've so I've got like a new track being released on the 27th of October. So that's coming out, and that the band's Freakstar, spelled Freekstar. And so we're just basically it's my old band from back in the day, and none of the stuff ever got released, although we were destined to be very successful, and sadly things didn't go according to plan. But never mind. We just decided that basically the stuff we should archive the stuff. Yeah, that's it. You can find us on SoundCloud, and that's all the old stuff that was done way back. But there's a new song coming out. So we just decided to put the stuff up on SoundCloud, and then sort of in the first like few weeks we got like a spike of listeners. It was something like 12,000 listeners over like a course of 10 days or something. We thought, oh, maybe there's something in this, and then Wilson, the singer, decided to do a bit of network, and then the next thing is we're going to start officially releasing that old material. Yeah, but it's the because the stuff's already done. I mean, the interesting thing for me is that golden question of how do you how do you break out of the algorithm of doom? Like it's I mean, obviously McRocklin Hutch are done quite well, and when we never did any real promotion or anything like that, yet we got put on some really decent playlists, and that helped us, and that's why we've got like tracks with like 500,000 plays and stuff like that, because we got playlisted a few times on stuff. But this, because it's like songs, I think it feels much more in the masses. Although I would argue and say it is unique in its way. So it's been a really interesting problem. I've got start doing now. There is a way to do it, and basically I've invested a little bit of money into this because I know one thing that we've talked extensively about is making an abundance of music and releasing music, and and I know people who write lots of really good music and release it, and just the numbers hardly move. So there must be other ways and other things that you need to do, and I can't say too much about it, but I have a plan. At least I don't have a plan. I have somebody else with a plan, which is taking my plan and making it into a proper plan that will actually hopefully work. And then we're gonna release a song called Bulletproof, and I'm gonna see if this marketing strategy works. If it does, then it's good. It's a rinse and repeat, and I think it could be a good thing. I can't give away too much. Just release tons of music. Yeah. I mean, right, okay, it works, right? If for me, it worked really well when I was a dance producer and I was releasing dance music. It was excellent because you just had tons of material flying out the door, going to labels, and then you'd have like, you know, every other week a label would be signing something and releasing it for you, and obviously they would send it, they would do the promo, they would send it to the DJs, you know, they would send it, it would all get distributed for you, it would get promoted, they would organise interviews and like live things and all sorts of stuff, and you'd do remixes of it, and so there was a whole like system there that was just almost automatic. You just sent your stuff off and then this thing did it, and it was high mech, and like a lot of the work was kind of done for you, and although not super effective, you would see more kind of numbers. Like I was probably a bigger artist than I was then than I was sort of with McRocklin and Hutch, but that's simply because like other people were kind of doing the work. You know, when you're writing music and you're doing, you know, you're making unique music, I mean, that is completely correct that you do that, because like, God, we need something different, don't we? I mean, there's so much of the same crap going about. We need to be, you know, we need new, fresh music that nobody's heard out there. But it is possible to do fresh new music that's amazing and never ever been heard. So there has to be some sort of marketing strategy in place. So behind the scenes, we as a team working very hard on this, and I mean a team. There is a team. So I just hope it works out. But it's just, I can't. And all will be revealed at some point when I see it working. But there has to be a way to sort of like do something to not just write music and tons of it and hope for the best, but to actually get it to, you know, get it in front of people. It's because I can't say very much about it, but I will do at some point. It is, yeah, and I know it's a big thing because, you know, with being a coach and then just coaching people to make tons of music, it really is time to have a look at the strategy of like releasing it. You know, like releasing music regardless is important, isn't it? Because it's how you get your feedback as an artist. It's how you kind of course correct and modify and evolve, isn't it? It's that final stage of like, where do you get your reliable data? And the most reliable data is the fixed data that you get from that situation of releasing something and not being able to go back to that project, you know? Yeah, so if you're releasing music on YouTube, yes, you could. It obviously, it's like the more you put up, then the more the algorithm's gonna take notice. But what about Spotify? What about all the streaming platforms? You know. So we're talking, you know, getting on playlists and stuff like that, you know. But you're right, yeah, you can feed. What if I told you? Told me what? It's like the Matrix, isn't it? Do you? I mean, I started putting like backing track, like the odd backing track, when people were requesting them. Yeah, it's good fun, this looping thing. It's a bit messy though. I wish I could work out how to get the Live Logic to go to different layers. That doesn't seem to be like a thing for it. Hi, Smart Alec, how you doing? No, you're not spamming anything, Mech. It's like, it's interesting what you're saying. And you need to promote anything, or you don't need to promote anything one puts on Spotify, or you do need to promote anything that you put on Spotify. Oh, ad revenue. Right, okay. Interesting stuff. Anyway. On to here. So next thing I've got is, we've got some instruments on here. That sounds synthwavy, doesn't it? Don't know what key it's in. It just happens to work with that guitar. All right, yes, I'll pass that on to the crew. Sounds pretty good, that with the drums, doesn't it? See what inspiration does. Alright, well that worked out quite well. So you can come up with sort of coffee time actually. So I'm enjoying the live looping that we're doing. I mean, there's some teething problems here. I mean, this bit's great, the synth bit's excellent. But the Logic live looping, I can't get onto the different layers to make different it's like how do I get onto the different levels here so I make different structures? That's quite good, isn't it? Then go into that. So, Graham says, what are you picturing right now? I was picturing an old, non-space, American shopping mall with post-apocalyptic sunrise looking out of a window of a department store. Something like that. So I suppose, alright, yeah, you know, zombie apocalypse or something, the kind of fun of a shopping mall almost, but with slight anxiety that you can just kind of go about and have what you want, but actually there's basically society has ended, and then the impending doom kicks in. But there's also something quite beautiful about it. So I think we've made quite a good track there, quite like that. We could work on that. So I suppose from the live looping point of view, if we have something we like, I'll just drop the MIDI in. So I've got that. So the only thing we have to do is like a little bit of gain stage in here. So I'm just going to do sorry, I'm miles away thinking about all the stuff to do with this looper. So I think we're going to have to do some tweaks on this looper. Probably there's no live. I'm coaching tomorrow, so there's no live tomorrow morning. So we could probably have a look at it Thursday. Oh, there's a live on Wednesday evening though. So I'm going live on the Wednesday evening, but I probably don't want to be doing this then. I'll kind of just try and use it in a kind of limited way. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my wins, problems, opportunities, and do those like sort of fixes in the looper, because one thing is the gain staging needs all sorted out. So one cool thing about that is I've actually got some tracks filled up there. What happened there? I've got some tracks sort of loaded with sounds there, so I can do like a little sort of mix. Just get all the levels right, so nothing's kind of peaking too loud, and we can take it from there. And I think it's going to sound pretty good. It'd be interesting to see what Thomas comes up with. I know his setup's very different to what I'm doing. So it'll be cool. Anyway, any last thoughts from anybody? Any quick questions before I head off? We're all satisfied. So I hope everybody enjoyed the kind of look at live looping and what have you this morning. And I will see everybody Wednesday evening. So Wednesday evening, going to be live, doing my thing. All right. There's the off button. It's like I've got 3 monitors, you say. Right. Okay, everybody. So anybody who's interested in joining a coaching group, send me an email. And it would be great to have you in a group making absolutely tons of music. I can highly recommend it. Also, if you're on the Discord, there is a free half an hour. Anybody who's on the Discord can have a free half an hour coaching session with me. I highly recommend anybody who isn't signed up for that gets signed up, because I can coach you on anything basically, and it's there for free. So use it, half an hour of your time to have a free coaching session, all free of charge. Can't do any more than that. Anybody who's interested in joining the coaching group, also email me and we can have a chat about that. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see everybody later. Bye.